Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Carving It Up Live right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, and on Twitter. As always, I am Bryson Carver. It is great to be with you guys this evening. We've got a great show planned for y'all tonight. I got a great guest coming on, Robin Schreiber. You may know her as the Dance Cam Mom on Instagram and whatnot. Die-hard Warriors fan. I'm sure y'all see her maybe on SportsCenter or House of Highlights or wherever you do your social media, Twitter, Instagram. She's the one on the Jumbotron at the Warriors games, with the Warriors sweater. She's going to be coming on the show in about 15 minutes, so looking forward to having her on. I'm also going to discuss sticking in the Bay Area. I've been talking a lot of Bay Area lately. I don't know what's been going on. It's great. Listen, it's the Yay area. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also going to discuss Jimmy G. I found the landing spot. Okay, the Niners are going to trade him during training camp. They have officially moved on to Trey Lance as their franchise quarterback. I found a destination for Jimmy G, and it's on a team that maybe could get to the playoffs if he is the quarterback. I'll discuss that as well. Let me start the show, though, continuing something I was talking about yesterday. Kyler Murray's, if you will, quote-unquote, watching film clause, his film study clause, whatever you want to call it, saying he had to watch 4 hours of independent film study per week, every week leading up to every game of the season. Now, obviously, I, as well as the majority of NFL fans, came out there to say, what the heck is going on? I mean, you're having to force the quarterback to watch film? You kidding me? Well, the Cardinals, I should say Kyler responded and said, to say that I haven't gotten here, that I've gotten here just based on my talent and that I didn't put the work in terms of, the film study and whatnot is ridiculous. It's a joke, really. That was his quote. Okay. So after that, the Arizona Cardinals come out and they say, all right, we're going to take it out of your deal, which, kind of caving into the backlash 48 hours later, 72 hours later, however long it was after the contract clause was first revealed to the public. What I think is interesting about this whole situation is like Arizona put out a statement. We are very confident in Kyler Murray. Okay. So first of all, I'm sure you're confident. Kyler is easily one of the 12, 13 best quarterbacks of the league. Some even say top 10. I'm not willing to go there yet, but like I said on Monday when he first signed the deal, can he get in the top 10? No question. But I've always said it is his intangibles that really, really worry me. I've seen it. The only intangibles I've seen that are as bad as Kyler Murray's when it comes to preparation, leadership, whatnot, is Jay Cutler. Y'all remember Jay Cutler? Could throw it from where I'm sitting to Europe. Had a massive arm, right? We know that, as well as the fact that in terms of leadership, there were times where former Bears teammates, when Jay Cutler was in Chicago, would say they had to literally separate from him in the locker room. Like he would have his own locker room. His teammates couldn't stand him that bad. That's how bad it was in terms of just the hatred for Jay Cutler in that locker room with the Chicago Bears. I've always criticized Aaron Rodgers' intangibles, but what I've always said about Aaron, he's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to being at the line of scrimmage, being able to get in and out of plays. That's why it's always kind of concerned me at times back when he played with arguably the best receiver in football, Devontae Adams. Like, bro, like you got other receivers. He's taking double coverage. You got plenty of other options and plenty of opportunities to get them in good positions to succeed and make plays. But the thing with Kyler Murray, too, what bothers me, bro, you signed the deal. Either you knew that was in your contract or your agent knew that was in your contract. Okay, so you've got people who look up and down these deals. They know what's in it. If we know what's in it, they darn sure know what's in it. Okay, so the fact that there's that Kyler Murray is going, was complaining about this and whatnot. It's like, dude, you put pen to paper, you signed the contract. You are partially to blame for this even being an issue. That's what I'm saying. And I got a few comments here from my man Grady Edwards. He said, who do you think they were going to hire as his personal tutor? Maybe Ryan Lindley or Josh Rosen, JK. Yeah, it's not good. My man Barry Grant Jr., shout out All Even Podcast. He's in the comments. He says, huge indictment to black quarterbacks, bro. It's always been a stigma. For him to even agree that it is, is a sign of guilt. So for him to come out and say what he said about disrespect is shameful. And then that's the unfortunate part about it too. It's just that you've had so much of what's going on between these two sides that are just like, what's going on? There's a disconnect between Kyler and the front office, clearly. There is a sensitivity on the part of Kyler Murray to speak publicly about this. And I would argue there's just as much a greater sense of sensitivity on the part of the Cardinals to come out and not just, scratch this, erase this from the contract, if you will, but also to say, we have the utmost confidence. It's like, well, clearly you don't, or that wouldn't be in the contract. The Pelicans don't have all the confidence in the world in Zion Williamson to stay in shape. Otherwise, they would not have put in his contract that he has to stay below 295 pounds. But they did, and Zion signed the deal. It is what it is. You agreed to the terms. Both sides, we know this about contracts in any profession. Both sides got to agree to the deal. Well, in this case, they did. So, listen, man, we'll see what happens with this whole situation. Grady says, personally, I think they always intended to take that out of the contract. I think this was a media stunt from the beginning to put Kyler Murray on notice and light a fire under him. Still, just seems strange. I buy that conspiracy. Maybe. I don't know if I completely buy that, but I wouldn't completely rule the possibility of that being the case out. Because look, I mean, this is a guy who we've heard the reports, and I've detailed them numerous times on this show, out of Arizona, saying he's kind of high maintenance. He's a lot to deal with at times. And so just bottom line is whether or not that they can, be able to heal the disconnect, whether or not he and Cliff Kingsbury have a good relationship, and most importantly, whether or not Kyler and the locker room have a good relationship. The deleted Instagram posts, this and that, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I think the Cardinals, my gut tells me they're a playoff team. I think adding Hollywood Brown in the six-game absence of DeAndre Hopkins was a great move on their part. We know, listen, you talk about college quarterbacks and college receivers having a good rapport. Look at Burrow and Chase. They got them to the Super Bowl with a terrible offensive line. They got to the Super Bowl. Tua, not big on Tua at all, but he and Jalen Waddle teamed up last year after the Dolphins drafted Waddle. Waddle went over 1,000 yards. And now in this case, Hollywood Brown and not Lamar Jackson, his former quarterback, Kyler Murray. I think it could work. I think they're a playoff team, but do I see them getting anywhere further than that? I do not. Sorry, Arizona fans, but this feels a lot like another one and done season. The question is, did they get off to a hot start? Because man, they have plummeted at the end of season. So we'll see what happens. I do want to move on, though. Something sort of a bigger picture topic I wanted to discuss was the whole situation between Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. Let's see. Hold on. Grady says, totally a maker or break it year for Kingsbury. They better make the playoffs and not fade down the stretch. I think it is too, although the Cardinals did sign Cliff Kingsbury to a long-term extension, as well as Steve Keim. So they're in it for the long haul. Kyler's in it for the long haul. I think the only way Kingsbury gets fired, I don't think he's in the hot seat yet. Y'all know I'm not a big Kingsbury guy, but I don't think he's in the hot seat yet. But I think if they make the playoffs, if they don't completely embarrass themselves in the playoffs like they did a year ago, if they, say, lose a close game to Tampa or to the Rams again, say they play the Rams again in SoFi Stadium and it's more of a nip and tuck game, it's a 10-point loss as opposed to a 23-point loss, Kingsbury probably keeps his job. I don't think the seat he's on is absolutely on fire. I don't believe that. But moving on to staying in the same division, going now to the Bay Area, beautiful part in the country, by the way. I want to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. We know that he is going to be traded. He's not participating in training camp. The Niners are pretty much shutting him out of that because they have moved on officially to Trey Lance. Kyle Shanahan said himself, Trey Lance is our quarterback. So the Jimmy Garoppolo era in San Francisco is officially over. And so the debate over the last few days is, okay, where does he get traded now? He's got 1 year left in his contract. He's a free agent next season. Where does he go? And I've heard a lot of suggestions such as the Giants or the Seahawks, two bad teams in which if Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, he's unquestionably the starting quarterback. I thought of a team. I'm like, okay, who needs a quarterback? Who needs a quarterback? And most of them are bad teams. We know it's a quarterback's league. You need to have that guy at that position. And I started thinking, started crunching the numbers, started to see how this trade would work for both sides. And Mr. Garoppolo, I have found your destination. Cleveland, Ohio. Now, you guys are going to say, wait, time out. Wait. Deshaun Watson may not play next year, but hey, they got Jacoby Brissett. All right, Jacoby Brissett, he's won games in this league. He's had a good system around him in Indianapolis. He's won. He won, a few games in Miami, and now he's with the Cleveland Browns with a great offensive support system. Why do you need Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, I think the majority of us would agree, myself included, Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he just is. And so the whole sort of debate now becomes, how would this trade work? We know that the Browns gave up a lot of assets. Better put first-round picks to go get Deshaun Watson in what was probably the riskiest trade in NFL history. Could go down, if it works poorly, as the worst trade in NFL history, given Deshaun's legal status. But you add Jimmy Garoppolo to a team. Let's just talk about the football perspective of it, the football context. He goes to a team that's a run-first offense, just like he had in San Francisco. He goes to a team that has some really good offensive skill position players. Amari Cooper. He goes to a team that has a great offensive line, like the 49ers. He goes to a team that has a really good defense with a superstar pass rusher, Myles Garrett. So, and by the way, the secondary in Cleveland is better than it is in San Francisco. Now, the linebacking unit in San Francisco is better than that of Cleveland. But I think in terms of the football context, it works. And in a division like the AFC North, listen, the Browns check their schedule. It's not brutal to start. And so if you plug Jimmy G in, anticipating, say, the NFL will suspend Deshaun Watson a year, and when is that ruling going to come out? I have no idea. Feels like it's going to come out any day now, but at this point, we're just sitting here waiting. But you add Jimmy G to a team that is constructed a lot like San Francisco is, with an offensive head coach who is a run-first guy, who is an upgrade, Jimmy G is, over Baker Mayfield. I think it works. Now, how would the trade work? I think, first of all, you swap quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo for Jacoby Brissett. Then the Browns would have to give the Niners a second-round pick. A second-round pick in Jacoby Brissett, maybe throw in the third or fourth rounder, per se, for Jimmy G. Now, for the Browns, maybe they would have a little bit more hesitation because Brissett has had a whole offseason to learn the offense and whatnot. But at the end of the day, what I would say is that, okay, Jimmy picks up playbooks quickly. I know that because he got traded to San Francisco mid-season 2017, took over at the end, won all 5 games, went 5-0. So Jimmy G's a quick learner. He'll pick up the offense quickly and be able to transfer Brissett over to San Francisco, where he can now become Trey Lance's backup. So again, I think it works for both sides, because of the fact that you have, these two quarterbacks who, look, they do need support. They're not by any stretch of the imagination A guys, if you will, tier 1, tier 2, even I'd probably put Garoppolo in tier 3 and Brissett in tier 4. We saw the list that came out from the Athletic the other day, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think Jimmy G works in Cleveland. By the way, Jimmy G is a $26 million cap hit this season. $26 million cap hit. The Browns have the most cap space in the NFL at $48 million. So they've got money, to spare. It's not like there's any star free agents in the market. I mean, one of the higher profile free agents left, Julio Jones, albeit cheap, but he went to Tampa Bay. So he's off the market now. I'm just saying, I think it works. I really do. I think it works between these two sides. Grady says he'll probably get cut if he's not traded by opening day. He'll get traded if someone gets hurt, in my opinion. He's not being a backup for another team other than San Francisco. That's a crazy notion analysts have made these past couple days. Yeah, I've always said I've had my criticisms as of late of Jimmy Garoppolo. I criticized his playoff record last night on the show. It's not great, but I will say that he is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean, glass half full, he did get to the Super Bowl. Now, as I said in the show, and I'll pull him up again, I hate to go from pro Jimmy G to, not anti Jimmy G, but not like huge on Jimmy G. But, you see his playoff numbers right there. It's not great. It's not great. Sub 200 yards a game, 4 touchdowns, 6 picks, 61% completion percentage with a 74 passer rating. It doesn't. It's not great. Again, is Jimmy G leading the Niners to a Super Bowl? No, he's not. In most of those wins, actually, I would argue almost all of them, it would be the running game, the defense, and in like the case of the Green Bay game, the special teams. So we'll see. But I think a trade between the Niners and the Browns work, sending Jimmy G to a run-first team with the offensive skill position players that they do have. So, at the end of the day, we'll see how it turns out. But all I will say, did you see Trey Lance at Niners camp? I mean, I don't want to sound blasphemous. I don't want to get over my skis. I know I was high on Trey Lance coming out of the draft in 2021, but Lord have mercy. That kid has got the arm angle, the arm talent, maybe not as strong of an arm, but I see comparisons, I see similarities in some ways. I'm not saying they're going to be the same guy, but to Patrick Mahomes. We know Mahomes, just forget the behind-the-back pass or the no-look passes. You see Mahomes with the sidearm throws, these weird, being able to contort his body in certain ways to get the ball to his skill position players. I'm seeing that from Trey Lance right now. Being able to avoid the rush. I think Trey Lance has better footwork than Mahomes has. Even today, I think today he has better footwork than Patrick Mahomes has. But hey, we'll see what happens. But I think when it's all said and done, it will work between these two rosters, between the Browns and the Niners. I think it works. Send Jimmy G to Cleveland, and Trey Lance gets to flourish in San Francisco. Now, we've got a very special guest coming on the show. Been looking forward to have this person on for a while. She is a longtime Golden State Warriors fan. Listen, 2022 NBA champions, had to rep the team, wear the championship hat, wear the Steph Curry night t-shirt. Let's just get right to the chase. She is Robin Schreiber joining Carving It Up Live. Mrs. Schreiber, it is a pleasure to have you on Carving It Up Live. How you doing?
Fine. Please call me Robin.
Robin. I will call you Robin.
My first name, Dance.
That's it.
Trying to center myself here. Okay.
Yeah, like I've got the graphic. A good buddy of mine made this graphic. Sometimes new guests got to, kind of position a certain way. First of all, I appreciate you coming on the show. We were hoping to have you on right after the Warriors won the championship, and unfortunately, you were, to say the least, under the weather. So,
I didn't have COVID, but I thought it was. I kept thinking it was because it never went away, but it wasn't. But
thankfully. Yes. But it's great to have you on the show. So first of all, just right off the bat, I want to know the Golden State Warriors, in case those out there haven't heard, are the 2022 NBA champions. How does it feel to have our team back on top?
Well, you know what? It was a long 2 years. We've had lots of injuries. This one feels extra special, I think, because of injuries and all the doubters out there and all the Warrior. Can I use the word haters? I don't know what it is. Maybe we're they're just a bunch of nice guys that get along together, and people don't like that. They want more drama. But this victory was sweet. It was very good. It was a hard-fought battle, and we won.
All it matters. We're the champions once again, fourth time out of the last 8 years. So, speaking of the Warriors and sort of your love of the Warriors, what made you a Warriors fan? Is this like from birth? Is this something in the last 10, 20 years? Like, what made you a Golden State Warriors fan?
Well, I think at birth they were not in existence. But my father graduated from Cal, and he loved Cal basketball, but he also liked the Warriors. So when I was in high school, I used to watch with them the Rick Barry days when Rick Barry had long hair, and it was kind of fun. And I kind of liked the quick pace of basketball. You cannot turn your head from basketball because something major can happen. So I kind of like that, and then came the days of televised sports where there were huge long breaks. And so baseball and football got a little slower, and basketball just seemed to kind of still, keep up the pace. And I've had season tickets. Well, my husband and I think, have had season tickets since 1986, but I had them before that. So, oh my God, can't believe I'm that old. You weren't even born then, were you?
No. I was born in 2003, but I will say this: you have seen, like many Warriors fans, you have seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you remember, Run TMC of the early '90s, and
Oh,
obviously the
yeah.
We Believe team of '07, and all the dog days in between that.
Mhm.
Between We Believe and then finally getting to the playoffs in 2013. So, talk about. I want to sort of get a look into your seemingly overnight success with the jumbotron stuff. So, just all of a sudden, it seemed like you're on the jumbotron dancing at games at Oracle Arena and now at the Chase Center. What sort of birthday have you been doing that for a long time, and you just kind of now got noticed, or like what? How
No,
did that
no.
all transpire?
I would barely put on a Warriors t-shirt at the game, but or my husband. This is kind of a story that I always tell, and it's true. My husband bought a sweater for our son, by the way, who is an avid Warriors fan. He really has huge basketball IQ. He knows everything about the NBA. Um, so he bought him one of those crazy Christmas sweaters, and he made the mistake of buying it a woman's size. So they dogged me all day to wear this sweater, and I don't want to wear that sweater. That's not me. And but they talked me into it. I wore it, and I just shot up and danced when the dance cam came on. I don't even know why I did that, but the camera saw, oh, here's an older lady. We don't see too many of those. And they just zoomed right onto me. And the next day it was in the newspaper. But it wasn't until the day after the election, this gentleman next to me said, how are you doing? And I said, I've been better. And so then the dance cam came on. It was kind of like I mean, I hate to get political. It was a little bit of an angry dance, but it and that went viral. And it's been like 4 years. In fact, before this game, I think I was on like 5 news shows talking about the Warriors going into the finals. It was so exciting. I've been on a dance show. I've been on To Tell the Truth, Good Morning America, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. It's fun. It's just, it's so random that, you can't believe, like, I go into the grocery store and I forget that people recognize me, and then they say, oh, can I have a picture of you? Oh my God, Stance Campbell. And I'm just this regular person, like, what?
Oh, I mean, listen, that's heck. You've almost become just as much of a celebrity as some of the guys in the Warriors. I mean, you are very popular, within the Bay Area. Let's see, I've got my man Barry Grant Jr. is in the comments. He's a big Lakers fan. He says she is such a sweetheart, but Warriors. Well, you're gonna have to sit through this one, Barry, because this is gonna be a long show for you, my guy. But let's see, Grady's got a comment. This is a really interesting question. He said, Robin, have you met Fake Clay? If not, should he be allowed back? Are you with me? # free fake Clay. Obviously, for those of you that don't know out there, he is a guy, I think he's a YouTuber maybe, that has snuck into the arena, dressed as Klay Thompson, and eventually during the finals last year, he got the boot, and I think he might have gotten a lifetime ban. Have you met Fake Clay?
I have not met Fake Clay. I've seen pictures of him. I haven't even seen him in the arena. But, there's only one Klay Thompson, and he's not fake.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And he's waited a long year, 2 years, to get back onto that court. So he deserves to just have just one of him.
100%, 100%. There's that, like you said, there's one Klay Thompson, and like I always tell some people in my personal life, like when I grow up, I want to be Klay Thompson. Like he's just the coolest dude out there. He's Captain Klay and everything. So so you're saying, like, with the whole sort of rise and fame, like it really was kind of an overnight success sort of story.
Right. It just, I don't know if it's a success, but it sure is fun. And I've had a lot of just great times. Men follow me into the bathroom at Oracle and Chase. And I say, you can't be in here. I just want a selfie with you. I just want a selfie with you. But it is fun. It's a lot of fun. People say that I'm like a role model, which I don't get. But I asked somebody, well, why are you saying that? And they said, because, you just dance. You don't really care. And it is about fun. And, where there's a lot of tough things going on in this world, and we do need a little laugh. And this is, I'm not a professional dancer. You could tell if you watch me dance. I have some signature moves, but I do I am a good wedding party dancer.
Hey, listen, that's awesome. Now, so you've been a season ticket holder since you said 1986 now?
Oh, but before that, I would have to say since about 1980, 81, they had like a mini plan. So I did sign up for that, and full-time season ticket holder since the mid 80s.
That's awesome. So a couple of seasons ago was what I would call like the pandemic season, 2020 through 21, which
Mhm.
was, I mean, obviously the Golden State goes in that season, and it's kind of a lull. Obviously, they know Klay Thompson. He suffered a second injury with the Achilles.
Yeah.
The roster certainly is not exactly constructed to compete for any championships. And so kind of the vibe, I don't think, I remember the first Warriors home game to have fans. I think it was against Denver that April.
Mhm. Yeah.
And obviously Steph had this, huge, massive, MVP caliber season. And then last year, the fans come back and they get off to that hot start, and it feels like, good times in the Bay Area again. Can you talk about the difference between the Chase Center when it's, limited capacity? Again, fans were only in the arena for basically the last month of the season, as opposed to last year where it's, it's ear splitting.
Well, Chase is a completely different vibe than Oracle Arena. Oracle was, completely open arena. Chase is kind of segmented off into different sections. But I feel like when the pandemic was going on, they did allow one time. I think the Chase sits 19,000 people, and I think we went to games where there were only 4,000 fans, and they were so
Wow.
spread out. So and nothing on the jumbotron at all, no dancing, nothing. It just felt it wasn't like a sporting event. There wasn't that vibe and they that the Warriors, like, we can get the fans can get really loud. And
Oh,
this
yeah.
season they were back. It was back, and
Yep.
it felt like Roracle.
Mm.
That's what they used to call Oracle, Roracle.
Yep.
So
Oh no! Listen, I think the loudest Oracle got was the Baron Davis dunk against Utah in
oh yeah.
'07. It was, I mean, it's just crazy. And obviously, the days of the 5-year run to the finals was legendary as well. And I've heard even a lot of the players have talked about sort of the difference between Chase and Oracle. Like you said, it is a different vibe. You can sort of feel the difference, I think, aesthetically on television. But still, I mean, like, I remember there was a couple of buzzer beaters in the playoffs that Jordan Poole hit from half court, and it was like, man, I can't tell a difference in terms of
No.
how loud it is. It's unbelievable. Now, the crowd, the guys who I think really get the crowd going more than anything else, I would say are Steph and Draymond. Draymond
Oh,
obviously
absolutely.
is the emotional heart and soul of the Warriors. Steph is the ultimate showman. Plays well in front of the home fans. Talk about when either Draymond makes a great defensive play or a game-saving stop, or Steph goes on one of his Steph runs. Talk about sort of the vibe and the energy, whether it's Oracle, whether it's Chase. It's unlike, I think the Steph three-pointer, I've always said, is the most demoralizing play maybe in sports. It just kind of sinks.
Yeah.
It sinks the energy out of the opposition and really gets the crowd going, unlike anything I think we've really seen. Talk about what that experience is like.
Well, when you think about it, I actually think of the three: Draymond, Steph, and Clay. Not necessarily in that order. No
Yeah.
order, no specific order. But the three of them have been on the team for over 10 years.
Mhm.
They're actually friends. You can feel that they like each other. I think that's part of the success of the Warriors is they get along. They like each other. There's that camaraderie, and that goes a long way to winning a sports championship. But you know, Steph, when you meet him in real life, has such a youthful vibe, and almost like almost like he's still in high school. That enthusiasm. If you've ever watched, the difference between a high school, college, and professional basketball, a big difference in as far as enthusiasm from the players. These are
For sure.
professional players. They're used to winning. They're used to losing. But Steph still has that, almost like, and he's a showman. He does his little movements. He does his little shimmy and the 1, 2, 3. And this season he's sleeping and. So Draymond is not quite as animated, but he's fiery. He's a pistol. And Clay, I saw a different side of Clay this time. I think he's just so excited to be back. I thought he was going to bring his dog on the court, Rocky.
Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Listen, I agree with you definitely about Clay. I know a lot of the Warriors players were talking about, it just seemed like there's just a different energy about him. I remember probably the ultimate Clay moment as far as the home games at the Chase Center was, I think, that game 6 against Memphis, where game 6 Clay, came back and he was holding up the 6 fingers. It was like, man, this guy's back. This crowd is loving it. And so, but yeah, I think, what's that?
He said championship or bust. He was going all the way. That's what he kept saying that. And I'm thinking, okay.
Yeah. Listen, I remember Steve Kerr after they won, he said, like, this felt like the most unlikely of the championships just because of all the injuries and whatnot. So,
Mhm.
sort of piggybacking off of that, last year was was really the ultimate sort of roller coaster season. As we mentioned earlier, they got off to that 18-2 start. And then, obviously Clay is out at that point, still recovering from the Achilles. Clay comes back, and then Draymond goes out at that same point. Draymond comes back, and then Steph goes down at that same point. And so it's sort of like, can this team really build any chemistry? I remember talking about in the show, the big three played together 11 minutes, not even a full quarter of basketball last season. And they come back in the playoffs, and it's like as if, they've been playing together, all season long. So why do you you sort of alluded to it earlier in terms of the chemistry between those three? They genuinely like each other off the court. Do you think that had a lot to do with the fact that, they didn't really miss a beat starting in round one against Denver?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, you have to give credit to the owner, Joe Lacob. He's definitely knows statistics. He knows money. He knows he knows how to recruit people. And the general manager, Bob Myers, great guy. I mean, I saw him like one of the playoff games. Like, I was so excited. It was like I was seeing a movie star. And then, of course, Steve Kerr, who in real life is hysterical, but what a great coach. And he builds that. He builds that camaraderie. There is no question. And I think it's a reason. It's a reason. And you cannot discount Wiggins this year. I mean, think about the people who said, "Oh my God, he's not going to do anything." Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing in the playoffs. He lives around the area that I live in, and apparently shops at the same grocery store. I haven't run into him yet.
Hey, listen, maybe that's going to come up soon. Maybe you're speaking it into existence right now. Who knows? But
maybe I should wear my sweater when I go shopping. Maybe he'll recognize me.
That's right. That'd be a cool picture for Instagram. But with Andrew Wiggins, that's a good point you made. I said during the finals, as much I love Draymond, love Clay, I felt like Wiggins might have been the second best player on the team during the finals. Given that massive, obviously, who could forget the 43 points from Steph in that game 4. But they don't win that game without Andrew Wiggins. He had some huge offensive rebounds, some putbacks, his defense. So, and I think
the second highest scorer throughout the finals. I think he was the second highest. I could be wrong, but
I think you're right on that. I mean, he was huge. And I remember when the trade happened, and like you sort of alluded to it, there was a lot of backlash. I remember one analyst very well saying he's a bad basketball player. I'm like, I don't know if I would exactly go there, but my takeaway on this show was like, it's an upgrade from Harrison Barnes. It's a better version of what Harrison Barnes, and he was huge to the Warriors' success when he was there. And so, I think it was huge. Now, let's see. Before I get to my next question, let's see. We got some comments. Grady says he's got a new nickname for you, Rockin' Robin. You good with that?
I'm good with that.
There you go. Hey, listen, Rockin' Robin. Then maybe we'll refer to you that on the show.
That's a song. I think that's a blast from the 50s.
Wow, there you go. Shout out to Grady for the nickname. Grady also asks, he says, Robin, what was the We Believe year like when they sent Dirk home? That must have been so exhilarating. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, the We Believe year was, it was because we had seen so many bad years before that. I think it was just exciting. It was just an exciting year. We couldn't believe it. Our son was there. He was, I think we started bringing him to the games when he was about 5. So I'm trying to think of how old he would have been then. But it's just exciting, to think that there's a little possibility here.
Yeah. And it was, again, like they were the first, for those of you out there who don't know, the We Believe team is the Golden State Warriors that snuck into the playoffs, the 8 seed, and upset the number 1 seed Dallas Mavericks. Dirk Nowitzki had won the MVP that year. And it was the first time, I believe, in NBA history that an 8 seed had won a 7-game series over a 1 seed. And they gave Utah a good fight in the second round, too. I think that one went 6 games. So that whole team is just, immortalized in the Bay Area. Baron Davis and Steven Jackson and crew. It was pretty cool.
You can't forget about Baron Davis.
Baron, oh my gosh. he was the best. He was the best. Grady, one more question before we get to my next question. He says, Robin, would you want KD back at the expense of your young talent depth, or have you moved on personally and like what you've got?
KD, he's had his chance at the Warriors. He didn't want to be here. I don't want him back.
You're out.
You're out. He's like a lot of drama right now on Twitter. I don't know if the Warriors are really into that much drama. That kind of loops around with the camaraderie. Maybe it's actually Draymond maybe is a little bit dramatic sometimes, but the rest of the team, Clay, Steph, the rest of the team. Oh, can we talk about Kayvon Looney? Oh my
gosh. Couldn't have won the championship without him. Didn't miss a game.
No, and you know what, too? Before that, I think he lost weight. He just got in
Mhm.
such great shape, and he was amazing. He was a little bit sluggish in past years, but this year he was just spot on. So exciting, such a nice guy, humble. You know, that I don't know. I just like it. It was just so much fun watching him. The whole team was just so much fun.
It,
Poole, GP2. Oh my God.
I'm a miss Gary Payton for sure, and
Oh
Otto
yeah,
Porter Jr.
yeah.
They were
But you can't
huge.
blame him. You can't blame. You
Oh,
can't
yeah,
blame him.
listen, got to go get the money. Got to go get the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point about Kayvon Looney, I remember that the season where they had the worst record in the league, he missed a lot of time. He had some nerve issues, and they were wondering,
Right.
could this possibly threaten his career? And I remember the game where, he had a really good regular season, but I remember the game where it sort of flipped in terms of, I think, his importance to this team winning a championship was going back to that game 6 against Memphis. I remember Draymond talked about it on his podcast. Shout out to the Draymond Green show.
Oh
But
yeah.
Draymond went to the bench after the first quarter and looked up at the Jumbotron and saw that Looney had 14 rebounds after the first quarter. Like, what?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, his impact was
Well,
totally massive.
I think they found out too that he was lactose intolerant, and it
Really?
just his diet completely changed. He lost some weight, and I think too when you're not feeling great, how can you play great if you're not feeling great? And
Absolutely.
so he's completely changed his diet. He's wow, and I love that they re-signed him. I was a little nervous there
Yeah.
for a second, but because he's just a heart of the team, really
Mhm.
nice guy, humble.
He is. He is. And I think sort of Looney's transformation, you talked about him losing weight and getting in shape. I think sort of points to the Warriors as a team in terms of, you talk about Steph. He put on about 5-10 pounds of muscle over the last few
Mhm.
years. Sort of this rededication. I think the fall from at the being at the top in 2019, sort of, I don't even want to go so far as to say necessarily humble the team, but sort of reinvigorated a fire that maybe wasn't quite as lit as it was, say, around 14, 15.
Right.
And I feel like we're sort of getting kind of like the Bulls in the 90s, this second iteration of the Warriors dynasty. So, I mean, I think you make great points there.
Oh, absolutely. I remember, being at the stadium. I'm trying to think of what year this was, when Joe Lacob, they traded Monta Ellis. It was
2011.
2011. Yeah, I was going to say 2010, but 2011. Um, they booed Joe Lacob for
They sure did.
5 minutes, and my husband wrote him a letter, in support of his decision. And didn't that decision turn out to be right?
It turned out
In
okay.
favor of staff, I think so. Yeah. So
And Monte was obviously a huge fan favorite because he was on that We Believe team, and that
yeah,
was the point.
yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Rick Barry wasn't he getting his number retired that night? I remember Rick Barry was there.
It was Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin.
Chris Mullin, that's who it
Mhm.
was. Chris Mullin
Yeah,
was
and
getting his
that
number
that was
retired.
sad because that took away from, retiring his number. So he's out there listening to this during 5 minutes of booing.
Right.
Joe Lacob handled it pretty well, but nothing like a little comeuppance.
No question, no question. And that was that trade, for those of you who don't know, it was Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut. And at that
Right.
time, Bogut was the first round sort of bust that people thought he was. He had some injuries. And, he was, key to the success, obviously, to that title run in 2015. And I think a lot of one of the biggest reasons that finals really flipped in 2016 wasn't just the Draymond suspension, but Andrew Bogut, going down with that injury in Game 5, sort of taking away the rim protection.
Right.
And so, like you said, that trade, turned out pretty well. And in the bigger picture, it sort of was the message from the Warriors front office, from the coach at the time, Mark Jackson, to Steph, saying, "Hey, it's your operation now, man. It's your team."
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty iconic moment in Warriors history, certainly at the end of Oracle Arena's history. Now, getting to sort of post championship. So, I knew the parade was going to be exciting, given how the last 3 years would turn out. I did not see that coming. I mean, like, I know the players talked about it. Andre Iguodala was talking about it in his podcast. Like, you would have had to see it to believe it. Were you there at the parade?
Do you know, I was not feeling well. I was planning on
Ah,
going, but I did not feel well. But I definitely was watching every moment. It was so exciting. And plus, too, this is, obviously the first parade in San Francisco. So,
yes.
different city, different vibe. What fun. You can see it. You could see it in the players that this was just like, they were so excited. I love it. I love it when, a professional basketball team is that exciting. excited.
And that,
Yeah.
somebody pointed that out when the Warriors won the championship. I think it was Mike Breen, who's the lead announcer for ABC. He said, like, sort of the best part about the NBA, and certainly the Warriors certainly apply to this season, is seeing after this long season, sort of showing the joy and the emotion of little kids out there. So like you said, it was really cool out there, and that's sort of what caught me off guard too when they won against Boston in Game 6. Was everybody was excited, they're hugging their families and all. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of emotion from Steph Curry. I mean, he's just, tears flowing down his face. He obviously with his family.
I was amazed. You could not, after the game, you couldn't get Clay off the stage. You could, I mean, he was so talkative. I mean, this is not the Klay Thompson we know. In fact, when TNT had me go to an All-Star game, and it was in New Orleans, and I had like a little public appearance with the players, and Clay just kept leaning down. I don't dance. I'm not dancing with you. I don't dance. I said, I heard it. but I did see him in China dance, so I think he does dance. But it was just Clay you didn't see, and Draymond just looking around for his kids, and Steph just crying, just weeping, just so excited. So I mean, there were tears obviously of joy, just pure joy, and getting the MVP award. I want to go up and watch him play golf too in Tahoe, because
he's good
driving distance. I think it'd be exciting to see him.
I think he might have finished in the top 10 at that tournament.
Maybe he would do a little putt with me.
That would be fun. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
He can dance. I mean, we see it on
Steph can dance.
He can dance. He can dance. He actually lives very near to where I live, but I haven't seen him around town. I have seen his wife in the grocery store. She actually shops, and I don't bother people though.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, again, you would know, being approached by people in public spaces, like sort of being like, wow, this sort of quote unquote celebrity life is a little different. And obviously we know Aisha Curry.
Better if I were getting $63 million a year.
I think we all would. I think we all would, Robin. That would not be a terrible turn of events there. So, but yeah, like you mentioned about Steph, I remember. Yeah, he sort of with the emotions really poured out. I mean, he like walked off the court with, the game is still going. There's 30 seconds left. He's hugging his dad. It's like, man, this really does mean a lot to me. It kind of got me, a little misty eyed, watching the game. It was incredible. But of course, you wanted to discuss this. We were talking back and forth, via email. The ESPYs were a week and a half ago, and Steph Curry hosted the awards. Did a good job. He had the crack in the jokes. And what was your thoughts on sort of? I felt like it was like a Warriors takeover, right? Clay won an ESPY, and Steph won an ESPY, and Draymond had his podcast. Like just the whole bit. What'd you think about it?
Well, I'll tell you that green suit that he had on, it was like it was painted on his body. I could not take my eyes off that suit. I was shocked at the necklace, the little blingy necklace. He usually is a little more subtle than that, but I was okay. I was okay with it. And I thought he looked so relaxed. He's got a little cocktail in his hand. Draymond having a good time, sitting next to his wife, Hazel, who she has to take credit about getting him in shape. I think he lost 25 pounds when he first started dating her, saying, you know what, you got to cut back on that red wine. We're going to get you in shape. So he's a little more spunky on the court. Clay just still can't stop talking about this. But it was fun. It was a long show.
It was.
Yeah, and he actually on Twitter, they said he didn't do a great job. That is a bunch of bunk. He was fantastic, very relaxed. And I thought, typical Steph, he wasn't, somebody said, oh my God, he roasted LeBron. No, it was like very subtle to me, very subtle.
He roasted Grant Williams more than he roasted LeBron. Right. I thought with the green shirt and or green suit and saying, maybe I'll let you borrow one of my rings occasionally. I love Grant. He's a Tennessee guy. I'm a Tennessee fan, so I love Grant. Okay. But yeah, he pretty much roasted him. And Grady said, Steph must be a proud father of the Boston Celtics. He said himself during the awards. He also has a question for you. He said, are there any teams that scare you going into next season, Robin, that you think pose a huge threat to Golden State?
I think the Celtics are going to be back. The Celtics are a young team. The Warriors are a little bit older, but we've recruited a lot of athletic youth. We can talk about who we've recruited. I've got some opinions there, but I think the Celtics are going to be, Phoenix is going to want to come back. I'm trying to think who else. Well,
I think the
Memphis.
Clippers going to be a problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Kawhi coming back.
It's gonna be exciting, but I just can't wait to this next season because I think we're going to be playing some of these. James Wiseman might be back. He's going to be. I think he's showing a lot of promise in the summer league, and Kuminga's so athletic.
Oh, he's a freak athlete.
What do you think about the Patrick Baldwin Jr.? What do you think about him?
I think he's a really good fit. It's funny. I hosted a draft show. What's that?
I'm interviewing you. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. Hey, listen, we're talking about the Warriors. I'm not complaining. But I remember I did a draft show with my guys. Shout out to Barry Grant Jr. and Mike Guido. And Guido is this big, kind of draft. I think Guido wouldn't have a problem with me saying draft nerd. He loves the draft. And I remember when the Warriors took him, Patrick Baldwin, and Mike Guido was like, "You guys are so good at this. Listen." Long, good 3-point shooter, is an excellent defensive player. I think you talk about the Warriors, that's kind of what they are. This is what the league is, really. I think the Warriors have sort of changed how basketball is played, not just Steph. Is being able to size matters. There's no question.
Yeah.
But
what is he like? He's like 6'7", 6'8". No, he's 7'2". He's like really tall. And he's got like a 7'2" wingspan. That's it. I remember in my brain here, 7'2" wingspan, but he's like, what is he, 6'7"? I mean, he's a big guy.
I'm going to give him 6'7", 8", something like that. Yeah, no, athletic
wingspan is amazing. Oh. He has struggled in the past with some shooting, but I think he's had some injuries. I think it's going to be a boom or a bust. We'll see.
It could be. It could be. And the good news for the Warriors is they have so many young players. Some of them have already developed well. Look at Jordan Poole. And you have, kids like Moses Moody. I remember Moody had a really good Western Conference Finals against Dallas. Jonathan Kuminga, I think, can be as great as his ceiling can possibly, go up to. Like you mentioned, a stupid athletic kid. I mean, he's really
amazing on the court when you see it, when he gets to play. I don't think we're going to see Baldwin play next year.
Probably not.
But I just remember one thing I read in the newspaper, the San Francisco Chronicle. I remember reading that I guess Andrew made some sort of mistake. I can't recall what it is. I'm taking this out of context. Some sort of mistake on the court. And then they called Kuminga out and he walked by Coach Brown and said, "Ooh, I know better to do that." So he's thinking, the guy is thinking all the time. And these guys are so young too. They're like 19, 20. So they've got a lot of years to go to learn, and they've got the best teachers in the world. Those the Splash Brothers, and I don't know why they don't call Draymond part of that Splash Brothers team.
I've said you can add Jordan Poole to that. I call it the Splash Triplets. I know they call it the Pool Party, and that's fun, but the Splash Triplets, that first round series against Denver, Poole had a huge series and played well at the back half of the finals. So one last question before we get out of here, and I appreciate you coming on the show today. Well, actually, I should say two questions. First of all, what is, you said, did you say you have a signature dance? Like, what's sort of like your favorite dance to do at the Warriors games?
Oh, I actually invented this dance called Splash Brothers. And it's kind of like when you're in the pool and you're splashing around, and I do it really slow, but you do it really fast. It's like the Splash Brothers. That's fun. Then I do a little bit of the salad toss. Well, here we go, the salad toss. And then a little elevator.
I remember the elevator. I can do that one.
I'm like motivated by music. So sometimes too, when in the arena, I'm not feeling the music sometimes, but I'm feeling the crowd. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
so
of course.
It's a lot of fun. I dance going into the arena. I will dance anywhere. It's scary. It is scary. Actually, my husband had an office party, not an office party, some sort of a work related thing, and they asked me to dance, and I don't really do that. Party, just stand up and dance by myself. So I said, well, I'll dance if everybody gets up and dances, and I'll get it started. I'll get the party started. Nobody did it, so I'm just sitting there like for 5 minutes. So, but then I thought, I really don't care. I'm having a good time.
Well, listen, that's what you do, Robin. You bring, a good positive energy, good positive vibes, through the dancing at the Warriors games, like you said, whether it's at your husband's work party. And listen, it's fun. It's fun. Like we need more of that in this world. And my last question for you is this. I ask all of first time guests this question, but I will frame it as a Warriors question. I got this from another podcast, is the 5 people, dead or alive, that you would invite to your house for dinner. 5 Warriors, I don't care who they are. It can be players, coaches, whoever, that you would invite to your house for dinner. Go.
Okay. Number 1, Steve Kerr. Okay. 2, I'd have Steph. If I had Draymond, he might not stop talking.
That's why he's got the podcast, right?
Let me see. Draymond. Okay. Wiggins. I would have Joe Lacob and
Nice.
Bob Myers.
There you go.
I like to talk about the inner workings of, because to me that's kind of fascinating. So
it is.
Did I name enough? I think I did. I think I have one more.
You got enough. Let's see. You said
put them in the breakfast nook.
Yeah, exactly. You got Steph, Steve Kerr. You said Draymond, right? I think you said Draymond.
Yeah,
and
I was
Lacob.
waffling about Draymond.
Yeah. Hey, listen, he could come. He'd be the life of the party. And then you said Lacob.
No, on the court. If you ever watch Draymond, that mouth is he's talking. He's talking the whole time. I don't know how you can talk and play.
I remember it was funny. There was it might have been the playoffs. I can't remember when it was, but he had picked up a technical foul early in the game. This might have been third quarter. And he didn't like a call, and so he was jawing to the official, and it was near sort of the courtside seats. And I remember there was this woman sitting half court, like, "It's okay, Draymond, like it's okay. We don't want you getting thrown out." So, but that's you kind of have to sort of bite the bullet on that and say, like, look, listen, it's what he brings to the team. You need that sort of emotional leader. But listen, you've got a good dinner, definitely some great conversations about basketball and whatnot. But thank you, Robin, for coming on to Carving It Up Live. I know you'll definitely be at Warriors games next season. Hopefully we can go back to back for the second time. That is definitely the goal. But I appreciate you coming on the show.
Okay. Thank you, Bryson. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. That was Robin Schreiber, the dance cam mom. You can find her on social media over there. Just really, really nice woman. Barry put it out in the comments. Very sweet woman. Huge diehard Warriors fan. She mentioned this is like a lifelong commitment that she has made to the Warriors. She might as well be one of the faces of Dub Nation. But I appreciate her coming on the show. But I think that's about all the time we have for today's show. So have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to catch Carving Up Live on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time on Facebook Live, YouTube, and on Twitter. And be sure to check out the Carving It Up podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Anchor, as well as wherever you listen to your podcast. So until Monday, have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe out there. God bless you all. Peace out. We still the champs. Ain't nothing y'all can change about that. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.